So just for context, we're going over issue 321081, where there is a lot of different options to scan go.sum, and then some of them even say the options cover other types of files, but I don't understand them all, so we're going to go over them.
Yeah, so right now we pass go.sum. So the good thing is that it's really fast. It's just passing a file, and there's no need to fetch anything. There's no need for internet connection. Again, so that's
It works offline.
Yeah,
we don't have to
offline.
worry about any like build dependencies not loading into the environment.
Yes, and in that way, it's very reliable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to break because it only passes a file. It's a simple file. But it contains extra dependency versions. So if a project depends on a package, let's say, what would that be? Okay, I don't have anything on my mind, so it would be a package X. Mm-hmm. In go.sum, you might have multiple versions of this X package, but in the end, at compile time, Go would only pick one because it can't handle multiple dependency versions at the same time. So it selects the higher version, and I'm smiling because it's more complicated than that. But it selects a higher version.
It should select the highest version. It might, in some circumstances, pick something else.
Yeah, unless. So it selects a higher version, and there's this algorithm, called MSV, but it's not what you might expect. It's anyways, it's all written there. So based on that, what we could do, we could post-process this file and compare the versions and pick up the highest version to remove duplicates. I mean duplicates considering the package names, but not versions.
That are not probably being used, despite the fact they're in the file.
So there's x1.0 and x2.0, x being the package name, or the module name, I should say, the name of the COM module. Then we would automatically select 2.0, and we would know that even if there's a security advisory for x1.0, it's not affecting this project because truly this project uses x2.0. So that's something we could do without fetching anything, without internet connection, which is great. But there are things users can do with go.mode. So they can they can replace a module with another one with a local module. So they would say that this
kind of like when you have a local fork of packages where you could have like a slightly modified package even though the name's the same. Okay.
That's it. I wouldn't be worried about that because
well, no, like intentional, the good type. Like my company decided that whenever we reference X, we're going to reference this particular package of it. Because we as a company, like I'm not talking about malicious insiders, but just that as a company, we put this one in our proxy because that's what we want to use.
Yeah. Oh, we have a fork of this particular dependency, and we know what we're doing here. So I wouldn't be worried about that. Users might dismiss vulnerabilities knowing that, well, yes, it's affected, but in fact, we have a fork where a patch has been applied. So we might run in situations like this, but it's fine, I think. That said, that there is something else. There is a Go. So what's the name? Sorry, I'm refreshing the context. It's possible to exclude one patch revision. Sorry, looking for the
because you were saying that it's kind of, and like in my head, what I was equating it to is certain package managers, you can say, I never want to use this particular thing. And so it sounded like you were talking about Go could do something like that, but we might not be aware that you're not ever supposed to use that version or skip that version or something.
Yeah, so I thought it was that way, and it's well, some context. It's a new feature, and I'm new to that. It was introduced in Go 1.16, I think, and it's but it's not the way it works. The way it works is that developers publishing modules to be used as dependencies might revoke, so to speak, one patch revision, saying that this is available, but it's not. I mean, it's listed. It's still, yeah, it's not removed. So in Go, when using Go modules, there's a Git tag for every module version. So the Git tag remains because we don't want to write history and break things. But there would be this extra metadata saying that it's there, but it's not available to be used anymore because, well, probably it's
because we revoked it or we whatever.
Yeah, there's probably a security issue there.
And so because that's revoked, I'm going to fall back to using something else.
Yeah. And there is very unlikely scenario where we fall back to something that is available. So a project could have many dependencies and transient dependencies, including x10, x1, so x would be the package name, the module name, x1.0 and x1.1. It should be the same major version, actually. I got it wrong before that. Otherwise, it's different module name. So there would be x1.0 and x1.1, and we would select 1.1 automatically, and we would exclude 1.0 because it's lower. But it might be the case that 1.1 has been revoked, and we still use 1.0.
Okay, so because of the way Go works, if we do it the fast way, the way that we do it now, we could be incorrect in various edge cases.
Not right now, because right now we report, it's as if the project depends on both.
We over-report.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so right now we're overly noisy.
In a way, it's better. It's better
but nobody likes it. Because
it's
there's
noisy.
Too many. Yeah, there's too many. Okay, so right now we're too noisy. We could make some modifications so we're less noisy, but there's a chance of edge cases.
Yeah.
And then there's also, and you can correct me if I went down the wrong path for the third one, but there's also the option we'd like to do in the future where once we split things, we might tell people like you could set an option and you could do a build or something, but that's kind of a separate item.
No, well, in a way it's not, because the clean ultimate solution would be to run a Go command that is Go list with patch options, but it doesn't really matter. The thing is, it fetches all the dependencies. So not only it takes time, but it takes bandwidth, and it won't work in offline environments.
Yeah. Well, so here's the other problem.
It's expensive, and it's not as compatible as
we have had users specifically say they won't use us because we're too slow. And for them, too slow was like 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So we're not even talking 10 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes is too slow for them. So I think what we want to do is we want to default to maybe the less precise or the less accurate but faster method. But to your point, be able to let people say, no, I Kind of like we were talking earlier with security, I'm more risk averse and I want to be more precise. Can we change that? And so give them the option to change that.
Yeah, and to do that in a consistent way, because I suspect that it's not limited to Go. In some of their contexts, we might have these two options, like go for the faster solution or do it right, but you have to fetch everything, connect to the package registries and everything.
So in theory, if we made something that was dependency scanning files, I'm making up name. It's a terrible name. Names are the hardest part of everything. So if we had a variable called dependency scanning files true, that meant it defaulted to just using files wherever possible for like the speedy method. Then as we had this option for each package manager, we could say just use the files, don't verify them, don't build anything. But then users could flip it, and then for every package manager we talk to, then we change to the longer running process, but the more accurate process.
Yeah, but naming that variable is tricky, and documenting that is tricky too.
But if it defaults, so am I incorrect in thinking that if we defaulted it to fast and speedy, that would be what we're doing mostly today? Question mark.
We might still change the behavior. So that hasn't been decided.
We might change it to get rid of those duplicates, but I think that's a separate item than the fast and speedy versus the build everything.
Yeah, but we got to consider everything at the same time. So that's we know what are the options presented to users. Because if they want something fast, it's different. In one case, it would have something fast and noisy, and and in the other case, fast, not so noisy, but there's a slight risk. Maybe I should research that some more. But to me, that's a slight risk that we miss something.
But the thing is, I think anytime we're not building, there is going to be that edge case risk, because I could have my package manager say, I'm not allowed to hand you X, I'm going to hand you Y instead, because of some internal rule, a firewall rule, a dependency rule, like you said, a revoked get hashtag for a specific version. So, and I don't think that's unique to Go. I have heard that for other package managers. So I don't think we would be that wrong for saying, if you set this option, this is exactly what we're going to do, and this is the possible edge cases you have. Like for reduction of noise and being able to simplify triage so that you're not overwhelmed, because if people are overwhelmed, they ignore all the results. This is how we work. But if you're more risk averse, and this is where we get into eventually, fingers crossed, we can set up those scheduled pipeline things. Because then somebody could say, okay, well, every time a developer runs something, I want it to do the fast and speedy, but every Friday night when everyone goes home, run the more complex full version.
Though in that case, we have a continuity problem. Some vulnerabilities and some dependencies would be reported only once a week. And if you compare reports, there's something wrong. It's inconsistent. I don't know. I still need to think about it, but maybe it's problematic.
I mean, the same thing could happen now. People could change
stuff.
Disconnected.
Are you there?
I think so. Am I still there? Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we lost you, Nicole, for a minute.
No. Boo.
Oh, so that was you. You went LQ, I have to say.
Am I better now or no? Here, hold on. Am I better?
Looks like you're using one of these old smartphones, like the very first smartphones.
Sadly, I'm using my parents' internet, which I guess is the equivalent. Is it any better without video? Okay. All right. I think we do, unless you fully disagree with me here, I think we want to either create a new issue to talk about this for all of dependency scanning to set up this option, because I feel like it shouldn't just be an option for like the variable option. I feel like that should not just be an option for one thing, that should be all of them. But I think for this issue, I would like us to go with the less noisy approach and document it as like, this is a possible edge case because we're going for making the reports easier to digest, and then let everybody in the team take a chance to like say, I'm concerned about, no, all gone again. Let's see.
We've missed one, I mean, words. But it makes sense. I mean, yeah. So we use this issue to, just to repeat what's been written. So we would use this issue to talk about making less noise, comparing versions, still processing files, no about introducing a variable to change a behavior in a big way and fetch dependencies to be more accurate. And that's all scanning scanners and analyzers. And yes. And one more thing related to that. To Go modules, you replace a package coming from a registry with something you've cloned locally, but I suspect that we can't process the log file right away. But there are things we could do.
So is this the problem where customers want to just be able to give us the lock file without actually giving us the whole project, or is this a different one?
Well, right now we only process the log file. In the case of Blender, we only process. We only process gem.log, but maybe we can be more accurate by installing the dependencies and scanning everything. In the case where they use
the I want the long running, more accurate version.
Yeah, and in the case they don't fetch from a public registry by name, but they use a clone of a package we have locally. I'm going to drop a link in the issue anyways, once we have it.
Okay, but does that make sense? Like, I'll put that comment in this issue and I'll say, okay, for this issue, I want to talk about how to make this less noisy, but not more accurate. And then I'll make a new issue where I say, let's have a discussion as a group about how we select a variable to let users pick between fast file reliance on files versus building. And we can kind of discuss the weird edge cases we're concerned about in that issue for like, I'm going to build all my stuff and what files and things.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool.
I think it's a good starting point. I like the idea to be able to further customize this, but I think we are heading toward what's been done already for Dast with the profiles. Like they had the similar needs of having a fast execution in some cases, and then a deeper, thorough analysis in some others, and they went with those profiles. So I think this would be great enhancement for us to be able to fine-grainedly customize by different package managers. But for a first step, I think a global variable is good enough.
And then in that issue, if we end up deciding to discuss some of the other edges around that, we can do that there, and that may end up spawning other issues. We'll see. All right. Thanks, all. And I guess I'll see you in 5 minutes for the next meeting.
Sure.
Bye.
See you.